Good morning. Hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to my quilting life. It is time for some breakfast. Today, pancakes. Anyways, I'm gonna wait for people to find the video because we couldn't even find it ourselves. I don't know what is going on here, but there it goes. All right. I have to bring my regular glasses in here, so let's see who's here. We got Dawn, Susie, Karen, um, Anne, Norma, Jen, Diane, Dunn, Ellie, Melena, Gloria, did I say Lori? I probably did. Monica, Diane, Pat. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. So today, obviously you can see what's behind my shoulder. This is what we're going to make. Oh, isn't it so cute? I messed this one up though. Can you tell? Not really, but I can because I know what the problem was. But from your guys' angle, it looks like like it's supposed to be that way, but it really isn't. So I am going to teach you guys how to make flower blocks that are in a pot. So flower pot flowers, flower pot flowers. So we're going to learn how to make that, and the description has nothing in it right now. It just says I will update it after the live, which after the live I will go in and put all the cut sizes you need, but obviously this is verbal visual. So when you see all the cuts and I lay everything out, that's what that will be. I'll show you the layout and then you should know from there what cuts go where. So for today's project, I'm going to make 12 of these blocks, but I probably won't make them all in one day because they do take a little while to make just one block. So what I need for that is 12 different 5-inch squares, but 4 of each, which you can tell I have more than 4 of each. But I just grabbed matching sets of blocks, so that I could have 4 of each. So there's a bunch of different colors here. They're just random. This is just pretty much scrappy, honestly, is how I'm doing this, which is random squares. And one more purple. And then he's going to show you the block. Yeah, sorry, because it's on the wall, you can't see the white. So that is the block. It's got 2 different whites on it, but that's just because I framed that one out. So that way I thought it would be seeable with a frame around it, but I guess not. So for my 12 blocks, I have what's left of a white yardage. There's probably maybe a yard here or a yard and a quarter. I have no idea. But you know me, I make it work with what I have. This is what I have. We're going to make it work. Then I need 4 different colors. I'm going to do all of mine the same. If you want to use charm packs for this project, you're going to need 2.5 charm packs for 12 blocks. If you're just doing 8 blocks, say you just want a small baby quilt, then you would just need 1 charm pack. But I'm doing 12 blocks, and all of my pots and the top of the pot are going to be the same. So this will be one color, the top of the pot will be another, and then all of my leaves are going to be the same color, and all of my center flower circle pieces that the bees get the nectar from, those are all going to be yellow. So all of this, the leaves, and this will be the same. The only thing that I'm changing on all of my blocks is my flower will be a different color for each of them. So for that, to make my 12 blocks, I just randomly think that this will work. I'm not 100% sure because I only came up with this last night, made a block. Oh, okay, this will work. I didn't get fully through the math, but I grabbed a 1/4 yard from my 1/4 yard thing, which on my shelf, I put 9 to 12 inches on my 1/4 yard thing. So I tried to grab the ones that had 10 inches. So I would say out loud to get 1/3 of a yard of each of these colors, except for the one that's going to be the top right here. So I got a brown for the pot, a lighter brown for the top, My yellow for the flower, like I said, I made sure that I had 10 inches because you need at least 10 inches. So like 1/3 of a yard would be perfect. And then I actually did grab a 1/3 yard cut of the green. So that way I have enough to make all 12 of my blocks because that's as far as I got with the math. I didn't even do the white. Literally, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to grab a bolt and make it work. And then I have 4 charm squares of each of my 12 colors. Okay. Obviously, it looks like more because there is more. I just grabbed a stack, like I said. So that's what you need for the project. I'll do it one more time. 4 charm squares per block. Okay. So 4 5-inch squares per block. 1/3 of a yard of 4 different colors: a pot color, the top of the pot color, your flower center color, and your leaf color. And then, like I said, this is probably a yard of white for my background. You can do yours however you want because your pot can be a charm square. This requires a 6-inch strip, so that's not going to work with a charm square. This is pieced because I, wanted to make sure it was right. But everything else comes from a charm square, except for the background. So we're going to get started. We're going to tilt the camera down so that you can see all the cutting because I can't stand sitting. I'm going to stand now. It's standing time. We're going to lift it, tilt it down, and you can see everything as best as possible without making anybody dizzy. Alrighty. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to start with my... Oh, no, just right here is whatever they could see. That's fine. So we're going to do this is my pots. So I'm going to start with the cutting for my pot fabric. That sounds weird. Pot fabric from what's going to be the pots. And I am going to make this nice and straight. And then I'm going to cut 5-inch strips. I'm going to cut 2 off of here. Because essentially we're just working with 5-inch squares for most of this. So there's one 5-inch strip. And can I get the second? No, I cannot. All right, so I at least get one. I'm not going to get all 12, I guess, from this. Oh, you know what? I can just switch. This can be the top, and this can be... Okay, we're going to make this the top. Hold on a second. Let me fix this problem here. I knew it wasn't going to be enough. That one wasn't 10 inches worth. All right. So we're going to make this the pot and the darker color the top of the pot. Because I didn't have enough fabric. I thought I grabbed at least 10 inches, but I guess I didn't measure properly. The one... All these cuts are 1/3 yard. So my flower pots, the top of the flower pots, which you really don't need that much of, but I just have a 1/3 yard. And then my flower itself, the center of the flower, they're all the same. So that's 1/3 yard, and all of my leaves are 1/3 yard. None is 1 1/3. What I have of the white could be 1 1/3. It's probably 1 1/4 though, honestly. It's only wrapped around there 3 times. So my pot, my flower pot, the pot part is going to be 2 5-inch strips off of here. Like I said, you just need at least 5-inch strips. I'm going to go ahead and cut my random width of fabric strip off of here while I'm here so that I can go into my scraps bin. And then this is garbage. All right, from here, I'm going to cut 12 5-inch squares because I'm making 12 pots, so I need 12 5-inch squares. I don't need to use all, but we're going to just cut them anyway. Whatever's left over will go in my leftover. So I'm just going to stack them on top of each other. You don't get all 12 from one strip, so that's why you needed 2 strips. I'm going to go ahead and cut me a nice straight line to get the selvage off. And then, so there's 4, 8, and this will be 12. So there, my pot bottoms are cut. 12 5-inch squares. Okay, so I got 12 5-inch squares. I'm going to set these aside, and I'm just going to cut from this. Now I need from the top of the pot. Okay, so we're going to bring this here so that you guys can see as an example. Here's the pot. 12 5-inch squares, okay, for my pot. Now we're working on the top of the pot. So choose your top of the pot color. I'll just lay this right here. Can you see right here on the camera? If I keep this here to point it out? Yes. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to I'm going to leave this 5-inch strip out because we don't need it. We are going to cut 2 1.5-inch strips. I literally have all this written down for y'all. That's why I'm going to put it in the description after the video. Plus, Karen will probably write it up and put it in the Facebook group. So 2 1.5-inch strips. I'm going to go ahead and just cut this also for my 1.5-inch strip in. All right, so 2 1.5-inch strips. We're going to open this up. This is the top of the pot. Let's move those out of the way for my scraps. We are going to cut 12 6-inch pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to switch to a smaller ruler just because we can. So I'll cut the selvage and I'm going to cut 12 6-inch pieces. So there's 4, 8, slide this over, and 12. So there's my 12 top of the pot. They are 1.5 by 6 inches. Slide that to the side. Move that over there. Now we are going to cut the center flower. So again, I'm just going to line my fabric up neatly as best as possible. I'm hoping to get 2 5-inch squares out of this. Let's make sure this is 10 inches. Like I said, I measured in the room. Okay, I have plenty. So I'm going to go ahead, cut this into, like I said, 130 yards should do this for you, for 12 blocks. All right, so I'm going to cut a 5-inch square. This is going to be my center of the flower, this yellow. We're going to cut 2 strips that are 5 inches, and then we're going to subcut to 12 5-inch squares. Okay, so move that out of the way. We're going to open these up, stack them on top of each other, and cut 12 5-inch squares. Go ahead, get that selvage off. Sure everything's nice and square. So there's 4, 8, 12. So 12 5-inch squares from our center of the flower. All right, put that aside. Now we're going to cut our leaves. Okay, this one, hold on, I got to find the leaves on my little paper here. We are going to cut this nice and straight. We are going to cut a 5-inch strip off of here, 2 5-inch strips actually, I think is what I need. Yeah. So 5-inch strip. Like I said, this whole thing can be done with 5-inch squares. 2 5-inch strips. I'm going to set this aside momentarily. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to cut 24 5-inch, which is what this is, by 3-inch pieces. So I'm going to cut the selvage off. Make sure I'm getting it right here. So 5-inch by 3-inch, and I need 24 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 20, and 4. There we go. Set that aside. So here's my 24 5-inch by 3-inch pieces for my leaves, which is right here, the leaves. But now we need the stem. So that's why I said 1/3 fabric. From this piece, we're going to cut a 1-inch strip, actually 2 1-inch strips. Sorry, my brain. Yeah, 2 1-inch strips. 2 1-inch strips. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just trim the last of this into a strip while I'm here for my random width of fabric strip bin. Okay, that's garbage. And that goes in that pile right there. All right, so now I'm just going to open these up. And we are going to subcut into 12. I'm going to have a little extra, but we're going to get 12 1-inch by 3-inch rectangles. So let's turn this to 3 inches. 1 inch by 3 inch. So there's 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to set this aside because that can go in my string bin. You probably only needed 1 strip, but we cut 2. So that's the center right here. Alrighty, now we are going to cut white. And then we'll do the flower last because that one you use the square in a different way. So again, flower pot. Let's do this one more time really quick. For 12 blocks, you need 12 5 by 5 of your pot color, okay? Of the pot. Then for the top of the pot, okay, you need 12 1.5 by 6 inches. Did I say these were 5 by 5? Yeah, I did. Then for the center of your flower, you need 12 5 by 5 squares. For your leaves, because there's 2 per block, you need 24 5-inch by 3-inch or 3 by 5-inch pieces. And then for the stem in between the leaves, you need 12 1-inch by 3-inch pieces. Okay, so I'm going to set all that aside and we're going to work on the background now, which I did not do the math of because, again, I was in a hurry. So we're going to start with, maybe I should press this real quick. Oh, yeah, it was about 1.25 yards. Look at that. I'm really good at my measurements. I'm going to give this a quick press because this is kind of wonky. So give me 2 seconds and I'll lay these here so that you can see the pretty flower colors I chose. How about that? While I make this really pretty fabric flat, the white. So those are the colors I chose. Let me press this real quick. Wow, this is like way wrinkled. I should have thought of that before going live. Sorry, guys. I think I'm going to spray it with some spray because this is so wrinkly. Yep, I'm spraying it with starch spray, but not enough to stiffen it too much. Just a mist. Only because I need these wrinkles to go bye-bye. They're not fully going bye-bye, but whatever. Lay this on top. All nice and straight. every thread in the room on my white pretty fabric. I did. I entered 2 quilts into Sewing Machines Plus Virtual Quilt Fest. I do not ask my audience to vote for me anymore. Vote for what you like. I do not ask you to vote for me because I have won in years past. I just like to enter and show off my work, and I want to give others a chance to win. So, like I said, you don't have to vote for me. If you want to, that's on you. But we would like to give others chances to win too. There's lots of beautiful quilts on there, so you can go on there and vote. Just go under events, though. I didn't post anything about it to take you straight to the link. So you have to go on sewingmachinesplus.com, go to the events tab at the bottom of the page, and then look for the virtual quilt fest. And then you will see, it'll take you to a link to see and vote on the quilts. And you'll be able to vote from, I'm trying to think of the dates, the 10th through the 14th. No, it's the 10th through the 14th or something. All right, let's get a long ruler. I have this folded in half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten my first edge up, and we're going to start cutting for all the background of this, except for the border part. So what we're essentially going to be cutting for is these, those, that, and all this. This is pieced, but that was because I didn't have enough pieces that I needed. So we're going to go ahead now. Let me just keep this next to me so that my brain can work. So I'm going to straighten this up. And I'm going to go ahead and make my first cut, which I'm going to get. My ruler is the size of this ruler. It's a Quilter Select, and it's 8.5 by 24. All right. I have no idea. This one is one of those you got to look for ones. All right. So my first cut is going to be 2 5-inch strips. Okay. And we're going to just move this out of the way so we could subcut now so I don't confuse you guys. 2 5-inch strips, and then we're going to subcut this into 24. Where are we at? Hold on. Background. We need 24 5-inch by 4-inch pieces. 5-inch by 4-inch pieces. And if you want to cut like 4 1/4, that would probably be even better. But if you have never sewn tumbling blocks or tumblers, if that's a thing, they make a template for tumblers, but I unfortunately didn't want to show you. I want to show you guys the way to do it without a tumbler. So we're going to do 5-inch by 4-inch, and I'm just going to leave myself a little bit of extra wiggle room just so that you guys can see. Okay, so I need 24 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oops. 15, 16. Oh, I need to cut one more strip. 8, 19, 20, and I need 4 more from one more strip. So 3 5-inch strips. Sorry, guys. Let's cut one more off of here. Just open that out of the way. Cut a 5-inch strip because I didn't do the math for this yet. So you're getting the math for the white, like literally right on the spot. All right, slide that out of the way. So you need 24 of your background. I'm just going to call it white though. 5-inch by 4-inch, and I'm cutting 4 1/8 just to have that wiggle room for those of you who have never done tumblers before. So if you want to cut 4 1/8, then it makes it a little bit easier because it's okay to trim these to size when we get to it. So there's 24 5 by 4-inch pieces, or 4 1/8. I know that's confusing by saying both, but we just want to give you wiggle room if you've never done tumblers. All right. The next one we need are these right here. So we're going to cut 3-inch strips, and I need, what's 4 times 12? Brain, sorry. What's 4 times 12? 48. We're going to cut 48 3-inch squares. So I'm going to cut 2, 3, 4. I'm going to cut 3 3-inch strips. No, that's not going to give me 48. Hold on. Trying to think here. Yeah, I'm going to cut 4 just to be on the safe side. I'm going to cut 4 3-inch strips off of my white. I just lined it up. I may have to straighten it again because it's slightly moved from moving it around. All right, so I'm going to cut 4 3-inch strips, and we're going to subcut it to 48 3-inch squares. Okay, slide that out of the way. Again, we're cutting for the outside of the flowers. And any leftovers I can cut other pieces from because I didn't grab a lot of yardage. But it looks like I had 1 1/4 yards, so you can go off of that, I guess. All right, let's switch to this ruler now. I lined them both up. We're going to cut 48 3-inch by 3-inch squares. And 12 is 24. And I got wonky. Did I get wonky or just, oh, no, I didn't. I don't even know what number I'm on now. 12 is 24. 36. And 2 more cuts. That should be 48, right? 12 times 4? Yes. All right, so 48 3-inch by 3-inch squares. Okay. Actually, hold on. We're going to use these scraps to our advantage in a second. All right, so I'm going to slide this back over, and we're going to cut now for... This one is just guesstimated because my brain cannot think. Right here and right here, these sections, we're going to cut 2-inch squares. So I need 48 2-inch squares, but I can get that from 3 strips. I'm thinking right now in my head because, you know, I'm not the best at quilt math. So we're going to cut 2 to start just because, but I need 48 2-inch squares. So I'm going to cut 2 strips that are 2-inch real quick, and then I'm going to subcut that and count as I go, but I think it's going to be 3 strips. And that's going to be for the part that makes our leaf a leaf. I'm going to cut the selvage off. I know I got all my rulers sitting here. Okay, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 36, 40. Yep, so it's 3 2-inch strips to get 48, because I'm at 40. So I need to cut one more 2-inch strip, sorry. Brain. That out of the way. Cut one more 2-inch strip from here. So 3 2-inch strips subcut into 48 2-inch squares. And this is to make 12 blocks again. Everything I'm doing is to make 12 blocks. Slide that out of the way, turn this, and cut. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. All right, here's my 48 2-inch by 2-inch squares. Set that aside. Now we are going to cut. I need my little paper to be visible, Tiffany. Come on now. We're going to cut now. These actually are supposed to be this, so that we're not cutting those. We are going to cut 1.5 inch by 2.5 inch strips, and then we need 1.5 by 1.5. So I'm going to cut like 5 1.5 inch strips to start. So let me just cut 5, and then we'll go from there with the numbers, and I'll say it out loud, but I'm going to start with 5, and then we'll count out our 24 1.5 by 2.5 inch pieces. So let's do the 1.5 by 2.5 after I cut all these 1.5 inch strips. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is just to start, just so we can get started on this. So I'm going to go ahead now. Move these out of the way. I need 24 1.5 by 2.5 inch pieces for the outer side of the top of the flower pot. So we're going to go ahead and trim the selvage, and we're going to cut 2.5 inch strips off of our 1.5. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We're going to cut another one. Seventeen, 18, 19, 20, 22, and 24. All right, so there's 24. This is again all measured on 12 blocks. 24 1.5 by 2.5 inch pieces. Now with the same 1.5 inch strips, we're going to cut. Hold on. Can you do calculator? Yeah. That's 8 per, right? What's 8 times 12? 96. We're going to cut 96. Oh, that's a lot. 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares. 96 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares. How many do I have here? Can you keep track of the number for me? You want me to count them? So here's 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, All right. No, I think you counted wrong.
Whatever 14 times 6 is.
Times 7. 90, and we need 96. So we're going to use those. Remember those 3-inch pieces that are left? I'm going to cut those into 1.5-inch pieces and then subcut those. That way I have plenty.
Yeah, you need 16 stacks.
1. See, so we always use our leftover pieces for stuff. 1. There's. What am I at?
17.
Is that how many needed?
No, you need 16.
Oh,
Why
okay.
did you use the extra stack?
Well, just because I cut it. There we go. So from all the fabric, you only need the 5 strips, and you can cut from your cutoffs. All right, and that was it. 1.5-inch pieces. Yep. And then my 2s, my 1.5s. We did all the whites. Yay! And look at that. I still have quite a few inches left. So I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to now stack all this up. And I will repeat everything once I am 100%. Hold on, let's write this down so that we can remember. For 12 blocks is 96. 1.5. Then I had 24. 1.5 by 2.5. Then I had 48 2-inch squares. And then I had 48 3-inch squares. And then I had 24. I'm writing all this so that it can go in the description later, guys. 24 4 by 5s. All right, look at that. See? That's the only part I didn't get done was the whites. So now we're moving on to our charm squares. Now I'm going to take 4 off of each of these because we just need 4 per color. So if you have 4 same colors, it makes this so much easier. Because you don't need that many. You just need 4 per.
Well, unless you want each petal on each
And
flower.
unless you want all your petals to be different, which is kind of weird, but hey, you do you. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. See, so you can actually use fat quarters if you wanted to cut your flowers out. You know, just take 12 different, or you can do 6 different fat quarters because you can get plenty of 5-inch squares per fat quarter. But that's if you want more variety of flowers, then a charm pack that has 4 of each color in it would be great, but most don't. But if you want them to be all different or in the same color palette, so like 4 different red colors, you can do that. There's 4 of these, 4 of these, and 1 more color. 2, 3, and 4. All right, here we go. We're going to start with a color at a time. So from each, this is going to be the same cut from all 12 colors. And literally, I'm cutting the whole project out and then sewing. So I'm going to stack all of these up. This is for the petals. We're working on the petals. So 4 5-inch squares per block, 12 blocks worth. I need my 5-inch ruler right here. We're going to cut, where's my little paper again? The flower is hold on, it's right here. We're going to cut 3 inches off. So find one side, straighten them all up, cut 3 inches off. Okay. And then we're going to take 2 of the pieces off of here, try to keep them nicely stacked. We're going to turn that into 1.5 inch. And then we're going to cut 4 1.5 inch squares. Sorry, my brain. You can get more than that, but you can only get 3 per 5-inch strip. And then this is my scrap right here from it. So again, from all 4, you're going to cut 1 5-inch by 3-inch. So cut 3 inches off and then cut another 1.5 inches off of 2 of the pieces. You don't need all 4 to cut your 1.5 inch squares for each block. So you need 4 1.5 inch squares and 4 3 by 5 inch per block. So I'm just going to repeat that step for each one, and then my scraps will just go in a scrap pile, which can be used for the rest of the creation of this by making a fun piano keyboarder or something. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, cut my 3-inch. Then I'm going to come grab 2 of these, cut 1.5 inch, subcut into 4 1.5 inch squares. And I'm going to repeat that with all of the flowers. All right, that goes over there. These go right here. So I'm just going to stack them on top like this. Put my pencil back over there. And then this should be all of the cutting for 12 blocks. And this is going to give us like a 50-something by 60-something inch quilt. So this will be a pretty good size for a kid. All right, 3-inch. Take 2 of these out. 1.5 inch squares. All right, move on. So you can see this doesn't take too long to cut out if you're consistent with it and don't take any breaks like me. But to sew it together, we're going to chain piece a lot of this because I'm going to sew 1 block and then the rest will chain piece. That way you guys can see how the block goes together, and the rest of it I'll work on between today's video and the next video probably. But it gives you guys something to look forward to see what the whole thing is going to look like. Because right now you can only imagine 1 block, you know? Which is all I see when I look at it. But 12 should look really cool. And again, I'm just using scraps. This is all scraps. I cut my own 5-inch squares. Either I use my AccuQuilt Go Die or I cut them manually. It just depends on what I'm in the mood for. So I pre-cut all of my squares to do stuff like this, where I can just grab what I need and go. This is how I make things up on the fly. Stay nice. 2 extras. This is for the block, and that's for the garbage. Let's do this again. These were almost stacked really nice. We're going to go with it. 3, take off 2, cut 1.5, turn 1 and 2. This and this go over there. This and this go with this. So it's pretty easy to, this is a pretty easy block, honestly. Yeah. Turn, cut and cut. That go over there, this with this. Notice I didn't do very many pink flowers. The one is just a pinkish red. There's only one orange flower, all this. Most of it's blue and purple, but mainly blues. It's just because I grabbed from a pile and this is what I'm gonna get. I think it'll be cute. No one ever said it had to be matchy-matchy. So as you can see, I'm just making it out of scraps, honestly. All right. This is not stacked very well. A lot of this is from like leftover backing fabric or border fabric or, you know. And I usually just cut it all up into 5-inch squares. Or whatever I can get from it, honestly. You guys know how I do that. You've seen my organization stuff. I cut what I can. But having all this stuff pre-cut allows me to get more videos done, honestly. Because all I have to do is go grab a couple things, and it's already cut for me, most times. Half, turn it. 1.5. There. There. That goes in the garbage. And 2 more to cut, and we can start a block. See, this one's like a pinkish red. Probably hard to see on camera, but it's not quite red. But it will work. I actually just used this fabric in another quilt. This is just the leftovers from it. One and 2. This goes in that pile. This goes in this pile. And one more thing. Yay. This went pretty quick. An hour to cut everything out. Not even, yeah. Because I always say hi at first. So that's pretty good. These are big blocks, though. They come out 10 by 18 inches. Just thought I'd let you guys know. That's why I'm only making 12 blocks, because they are pretty big blocks. 2, there we go. That goes there, goes over there, and that goes in the garbage. All right, time to make blocks. All right, let's put everything out of the way. We're going to give you guys a block idea right here. I'm going to face it towards you, so I'm going to be upside down for this. All of my parts and pieces are going to be right here in front of me so that I can grab them as I need them to show you guys what we're doing here. Can they see the sewing machine? Oh yeah, you can. Okay, so we're going to leave the camera just where it is, honestly, because you can see the sewing machine too. Because I'm going to show you how it lays out and show you how it sews. So let's just move all these up here. Yeah, it's not charging properly. It's going to kill the battery. Sliding it over just a little bit more so I can fit all of these over there. Because we're going to start with just one. Let's use a dark color for this.
What are you going to use this one for? This one's your 13th one? Do you know?
Oh, this block is just going to, I don't know, I'll put it in the back of the quilt or use it as a whatever, or, you know, I don't know. I could put more borders around it and just have it be a single quilt.
It could be a wall hanging.
It could be a wall hanging, yeah. All right, so we have our 4 flower petals. So for each 4 flower petals, you need 2 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares of your white, which again is background. I'm going to use the word white for that. Okay, we are going to connect these into the corners on one side only. So corners on one side only. We're just going to stitch and flip. That's what this is called. We're going to stitch and flip these on one side only, and I'm going to stitch opposite directions, like you're making a flying geese. So it'd be like you're making a flying geese on all of these. So they go from the outside to the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and chain stitch all these through real quick. And then we will cut away the excess and press, and this step will be done. Oh, I'll get it because this is a lot of small little parts and pieces. And the more accurate it stays, the better. All right.
Oh, the more accurate it stays, the better. I heard that.
Yep. So I'm just going to chain piece these through.
The more accurate it stays, the better. Do you want me to move the camera over here also? It's closer?
They can see what I'm doing. It's right there on the screen. I mean, you can scoot it just a little bit over. Or closer. As long as they can still see the whole entire, this and this is fine. Because I'm laying it out right in front of them. You know? All right, so there's going to be a lot of stitching and flipping, so just so you know. So now I'm going to add the other side. This one I went one way, and then the other one, just like you're doing a flying geese unit, except it's on the edges and it's small pieces. So we're going to go ahead now and stitch this side on opposite direction. Opposite direction. And if you stitch just a hair to the side you're going to cut off, makes it just a little bit better. I never get it always like that, but, you know, sometimes I do. All right. All right, so I'm going to snip these apart, and then we're going to cut off the excess. And what you should have is, I'm just going to finger press this back. If you sewed it just right, this edge and this edge should meet up, and they should be still the same size square, 3 inches by 5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all those excesses. I know that mine are fine, so I'm just going to leave it since this is a video and we at least want to get through one block because, like I said, one block takes a minute to do. So I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch seam allowance away, and then I'm going to take them and press them towards the white. It really doesn't matter which way you press these because nothing's going to match up, and if you're using white like me, it's kind of going to show some of the whatever, but honestly, because they're so small, once the block is together, you really don't see the background or the other color as much, so it's actually okay, because again, they come out really small. And one more. Oh, I already did that one, so I did all of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to press these back now. We don't need that ruler now. I do use steam on most projects. If you guys watched yesterday's video, I did not use steam. Not until the final the top was put together, then I steam pressed the whole thing. But hopefully y'all got a chance to watch it. And if not, after today's video, you can go and take a look-see on yesterday's filmed and edited video. All right, so these are going to sit like this, okay? But for now, move them aside. And you're going to grab one of your center flower pieces. And we're going to take those 4 of the blue, which are my flower petals, and we're going to snowball the corners on all 4 sides, all different. So we're going to go like a flying geese here, but then if you turned it, it would be like a flying geese each way. So you're going to go from one corner to the other to create this. So we're going to snowball this on here with all 4 of the pieces that we cut that are 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch of the flower petal colors. So I just lay them all right here since we're doing just one piece at a time so you guys can see how this is done. And one more. And then I'm going to trim them off Trim away a 1/4 inch seam allowance. But first, if you want to make sure that they're good, remember, if you fold it back and it's the same size and the fabric meets up, then you know you have a good seam allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all this excess away, making a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I'll press this piece. Whew. You know, when I talk a lot like this, I always start messing things up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press this back. And now here is the center of the flower. So there's the flower. We're going to move that aside, and we are going to work on the leaves. So I'm just going to grab 2 leaf pieces real quick. They are 3 inch by 5 inch, okay? And then I'm also going to grab 4 2 inch by 2 inch squares. Here is going to be the tricky part. I'm going to try to do this facing you. As you can see, they face opposite directions of each other. So I'm going to try to do this facing you. We're going to have 2 that are on these corners right here, and then 2 that are going to be on this opposite corner right here. And we're going to sew this on here, there to there, and on these, there, there to there. So they're going to be opposite, creating like a diamond almost. So both sides this way, both sides this way, but they're going to be opposite. So remember, one is one way. You can't make 2 the same. They're not the same at all. They're opposite. So just remember that when you're making your flower, and that's why I'm doing this facing you guys and keeping the block out so that you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch and flip those. Turn it around, sew the opposite side on. It's really easy to get these messed up. So there's one. Now this one goes the opposite direction. All right, again, you could always flip it back and make sure that it touches on the sides, and it does. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this away with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then we're going to go take it and press it. You could always make sure that it was the right direction too before you cut off your seam allowance. All right, so I'm going to press these real quick. All right, so here are my bottom parts of the leaf unit, and then we will be adding one of the 1 inch by 2 or 1 inch by 3 inch leaf piece in between the two. Okay, so for now I'm just going to set this aside because we'll lay out the whole block. All right, now we need to make the pot. So we're going to take our 5 inch square of the pot color. We're also going to take a 6 inch top of the pot. We're going to take 2 1.5 by 2.5 inch pieces for the top of the pot. And then we're going to take our 4-ish, I'm going to say 4-ish inch by 5 inch white pieces. This is where you need to pay attention, and I'm going to have to do this facing you, sort of, because we're not using a tumbler cutout. And if you guys don't know what that is, can you reach the tumbler template behind you so I can show them what it is, just in case they want to know? The yellow one up there. So if you guys don't know what a tumbler template is, this is a tumbler template. So this would normally lay on the block, and then you would cut the sides, and then I would use the same exact thing to line up and cut my side to connect, if that makes any sense. So normally people use this. We're going to not use this because not everybody has this tumbler, and Scott actually looked it up online last night. there's nowhere found for a 5-inch. They have 3-inch tumblers. They have what was the other one?
3.5, 7.
3.5 and 7. He could not find this 5-inch one. Missouri Star sold this for a long time, but they don't have it apparently. So
They sell it on Amazon.
yeah, it's sold on Amazon, but it's not on any of our affiliates. So I'm going to show you how to do this without the tumbler. We're going to take a ruler. We're going to find, well, I got to do this facing you. So we're going to take the ruler and put it at one corner right here. Just lay it at that corner, and then you're going to come in 1 inch. See that? 1 inch. So from the corner to 1 inch in, you're going to make a cut, just like that. Then you're going to do the opposite side. I'm going to turn this ruler because I'm cutting the opposite direction. You're going to touch it at the corner and come in 1 inch. So I'm going to cut this facing you like that. So from the tip to the inside, 1 inch. So this spot right here should be 3 inches at the top. Right here, 1, 2, 3. So you should have 3 inches at the top and 5 inches on the bottom. Okay? Now to cut your opposites that are going to go on the sides for your white, you're also going to, okay, my brain is not seeing this for some reason, you're going to cut the opposite way. So from this corner to this side, you're going to cut 1 inch this way, 1 inch in. I got to make sure that I'm even in a direction I can do this. On the white of your 4-ish inch by 5-inch piece. And then you're going to come in on the opposite one. Again, my brain is going to come to this top corner and 1 inch then this way. So 1 inch in from the top and 1 inch this way. Just follow this, path right here. When you lay in it here, just follow that path and you should be good. So that way, when you put these together like this, when you sew them together, you have a pot. And the top of this, because I went to like 4 1/8, but this should be 3 inches at the top and 4 inches on the bottom. Okay? That's what it's supposed to be. So if you did it right, 3 inches on the top, 4 on the bottom, 3 on the top, 5 on the bottom, 4 on the top, 3 on the bottom. That's what your pieces should be. Now we're just going to go ahead, put this right sides together. And I'm going to sew. I'm literally just touching the tip here and touching the tip here because I didn't cut off my points. I'm going to go ahead and sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance as best as I can because I'm not using a seam guide because I'm constantly switching out here. But we're going to attempt it. I cannot sew straight for the life of me. Never been able to. I'm going to press this in towards the pot with just my finger for now. And now I'm going to attach the opposite side. Just going to lay this on here. Now I'm going to sew this other side. Come on, right there. And if you did it correctly, we're going to finger press for now, right here. If you did it correctly, this should be 5 inches by 10 inches. So let me press it real quick. And let's see. 10 inches exactly. So, even if it was, but I sewed less than a 1/4 inch seam, by the way. So it's 5 inches by 10 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So my size didn't change. So the top of the pot, so this is the bottom of the pot. This is what it would look like. Here's the top of your pot. You're going to put your 2.5 by 1.5 inch white piece on both, one on each side of your 6 by 1.5 inch piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a 1/4 inch seam. Same as always when we're quilting, making quilts. Unless otherwise directed, but obviously I'm not otherwise directing you. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and press this towards the dark. My seam guide?
Yeah.
Oh, my little thing? My little guide thing that I usually line my magnetic seam thing up to. That's my seam guide. I I'm not using it today because of the way I'm piecing this block, so. But normally I'd line that up. I put my needle down into the 1/4 inch. I line my magnetic seam guide, right, that, I align that up to that line and bam. And I try to keep it next to me. I'm really bad about 1/4 inch seams. Like for the life of me, struggle with it. So here's the pot piece. We're just gonna set that aside. And now we just need to grab, we got that done. We need 4 of the 3 by 3 inch white squares, or your background, but I like saying white. And now I'm gonna lay this out in front of you. So we're gonna lay these right here. And this is going to be the way it lays out. Facing you is what you're gonna actually do, because this would be right facing to you.
Where did you get the plastic one?
The plastic one, I don't even know where that came from. It came from Sewing Machine Seam Guy. That's what it says. I don't know. It came in a box though, in one of my subscription boxes. Right? So you are going to lay out with your 3 inch by 5 inch petals. You're going to have those with the white facing away from the center. Obviously, this is the way it's supposed to be. And your 3 inch squares go in all 4 corners. Then below that, we're going to center this. We're going to place our 1 inch by 3 inch piece in the center. And then we're going to put this like this, facing up, and this facing up. So you'll know it's right when you have a line created here, which works either way, like I said. But it didn't work on the opposite side, so that wouldn't have worked on that side. So you'll know if you have your white touching your white right here at your petal to separate the flower from the thing. Then you're going to take your now 1.5 by 10 inch piece and your 5 inch by 10 inch piece and place it just like this. And this is the layout for your flower. So that's how it goes. So now we're just going to sew it together in rows. We're just going to make rows like this. So I'm going to sew 1 of each of these 3 inch to each side. And then I'm going to put this one on this side. And then I'm going to press these towards the blue, towards my flower. So these are going to go in, pressed inward towards the flower. And if you press your seams open, you can do that too, but I don't press my seams open. You lay it back. So now we're going to put these on the end right here. So 1 on each side. I'm going to sew down the sides, and then I'm going to press these towards the petals. Quarter inch seam. Turn it around, make sure that it's lined up. There. Oop, down here isn't. And obviously my piecing is a little sloppy because I'm not using a seam guide today. But that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and again press these towards the petals. So in towards the petals, out towards the petals, in towards the petals. Just like this. Now we're going to do the same with this. So we're just going to sew 1 on each side of this. All right, so again, in towards the petal. If my thing would go nice. All right, place it back. Now we're going to sew our 1 inch by 3 inch stem piece onto this side and then sew this onto it, and I'm going to press them towards the middle of the stem. So quarter inch seam. And I'm going to press this towards the stem, this, and I'm going to add the opposite side, and then I'll take it to the iron and press towards the stem. So I'm going to finger press it first. It's probably been a while since I've done a complicated block like this on a video, huh? Now everything's together, so we're going to go ahead and place this on here. I'm going to nest these two seams. Obviously, the one looks like it got all funky because I'm trying to hurry. As long as they nest, that's fine with me. I don't know why it got all wonky though. Because I can't press properly, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and press this towards the top. I'm also going to fix the one that's kind of wonky. Lay flat, Mr. Seam. There. All right. Now we're going to place this one on, and we're going to nest these two seams. They're in opposite directions, so everything should line right up. Quarter-inch seam allowance. All right, and I'm going to press this towards the petal. So towards the petal. This flower is the proper way it's supposed to be done, since I messed up the other one. All right, now we're going to attach our leaves. Quarter-inch seam. I'm going to go ahead and press it towards the leaves. Okay, still facing you so that you can see. Now we're going to put the top of our pot on here. Quarter-inch seam. And we're going to press it towards the pot, top of the pot. I think I'm doing pretty good for not using a seam guide, huh? Again, pressing it towards the pot like that. And now we're just going to add our pot. So here we go. Right sides together. Everything should be exactly the same size. Quarter-inch seam. Oops, stay. All the way down. And I'm going to go ahead and press this towards the pot. Now I'm going to press the whole block while I'm over here with some steam to make it super flat. Because, you know, we want our blocks to be flat. And I'm going to lay it over here so you can see. And the only reason why the other one has a border around is because I put a border around it. But this quilt's going to get sashing and stuff when we put the 12 blocks together. We're going to lay them out just right. So that'll probably land in the next video. But so here's the block. That's what it looks like. Isn't that adorable?
It is. That's awesome.
See, now that you can see the difference where I messed up here. I put the whites on there accidentally instead of the purple. But you can see it creates a better flower when it's got the actual color because I messed up here, like I said. So there is one of our flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one over here now and this other one on the wall because technically you can't see any of that. And I'm going to repeat it. I have about one more time's worth. So we're going to let's make a red flower. So same procedure. This is just going to get chain pieced. Take all four of these. So our petals that are 3 by 5. We're going to take two 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares per petal. And we're going to put them on opposite sides as if we were making a flying geese. So they're going to go here, and we're going to sew here to there and there to there. So like this, like you're making a flying geese. So I'm going to go ahead and chain piece these through.
What's the size of the whole block?
Oh, the whole block is 10 inches by 18 inches. So mine is 10 inches by 18 inches. Sorry, I had to make sure. It's 10 inches by 18 inches. Here, let me put it right here so you can see. 10, it's a 10, and it's a 18. So it's 10 by 18. They're big blocks. All right, so let me sew these on two sides of my petals. I'm just gonna chain piece them through. And I'll put all the instruction, well, the cutting measurements in the description below the video, but I don't know how wordly I can get because I'm not very good at writing patterns on how to put it together. So you might just have to, if you're watching this video at a later date, you might have to just use the verbal visual part and use the description part for just the cutting because I'm not very good at writing the pattern part. But Karen always graciously writes them out and puts them in the Facebook group for as a PDF. So it's not exactly like a pattern would look that you would buy, but it's pretty much accurate. It's a simple, more accurate description from my video on how things go. She describes it like I do.
Did you use that block, your one with the white around it, as your middle? Put these around it?
Could I use? Oh, I don't want to do that, no. Because then I would,
No?
I could, yes, but I'm not going to. No, this whole thing has got a plan. There is a plan of action here. So before I cut the ends off of this, I'm going to go ahead and grab a center flower piece. And then I'm going to take my 4 colors and I'm going to also snowball these corners. So I'm going to snowball all four corners. Can I have a cold water, please?
Yes, of course. Do you want your stuff mixed in or no? Your juice?
No, not right now, because
Flavor?
it's, no, I'll do flavoring after. Nap. All right, 2 corners down. Trying to do all the snowballing first. And 1 more. All right, now that those are on the petal, now we're going to take our leaves, 2 leaf pieces. Thank you very much. I need it now. We're going to grab 4 2-inch squares. Now remember, these are opposites, so you're going to put 2 like this and like this. So they're opposite of each other. We're going to sew here and here, like this. Okay? So I'm just going to leave them on here the way I laid them. That's why I'm doing this one at a time. Although I could chain piece all of them because they're the exact same. All right, so they're opposite though, creating almost like a diamond shape. Almost like, not exactly. Is that all my snowballing? Okay, all my snowballing is done. So let's cut these off. 1/4-inch seam allowance. So you guys know I'm a saver. The ones that are 2-inch, I'm saving to make little miniature, hourglasses with. Yeah, I know. I'm so weird for saving that stuff. I don't save the ones off the 1.5-inch though. Why? Because I don't need to. So I'm just gonna cut all these off. You can use scissors to do this step, honestly. Now I'm going to cut all these off. Like I said, you can just take a pair of snips and cut. It's probably faster than lining up a ruler and rotary cutter, you know, because those I don't save, so they don't need to be straight. Although you do 12 of these blocks in a row, your hand will get crampy. All right, all these are cut off. This is all garbage. All right, those are all ready to be pressed, but we're going to take everything to the iron at the same time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the top of my pot and the two side pieces and connect those onto it. Remember, we're trying to do this like efficiently. I will take it all over to the iron at one time. All right, so this is ready to be pressed, as you can see. All right, now we're going to take the pot, and we're going to take our two side pieces, and we're going to carefully cut this. Again, we're going to go from the tippy top corner, right here, in 1 inch. Try to lay that on there, come in 1 inch, and then you're going to go the opposite side, 1 inch in to the tippy corner. If it's not perfect, that's why I gave you guys the option to add more to this if this doesn't come out perfect. But again, this should be 3 inches and this should be 5. And then we're going to do that same thing. So we know this one is going this way. So we're going to come in right here from this bottom in 1 inch. Right here. And then, so we got that angle correct. Now we need to get this angle correct. So it's best to just do these one at a time, honestly. So we're going to go from this down bottom corner to 1 inch in at this top. Just like that. And there are my... No, I'm good. I'm going to go ahead now and place these on my hair. I cut my hair into the fabric this time. I mean, why else? You know, just, it's never ending with this hair of mine. You know, you guys all keep saying, you've said to me several times, oh, your hair is getting so long, it's growing so fast. I just measured my hair. If I was to cut my hair to my, right at my chin and have like a bob kind of cut, then I would only have 13 inches. That's it. I just barely crossed 13 inches of hair to donate. Pretty crazy. And I'm not even donating it because there's only 13 inches and I have really thin hair. But yeah, I was like, I want to see how long my hair actually is. And I measured it and yeah, 13 inches. That's it. It's like, it feels longer. It looks longer too, but it's not. All right, so the bottom of my pot is done. What else needs to be sewn and ironed? That's it. So I'm going to take all this to the iron real quick, get everything pressed. Like I said, if you do this just right, let me see if I can lay it on the ruler so that you can see it when I hold it up. You should have, if you do that just right, you should have a nice straight line across the top and a nice straight line across the bottom. What I kind of do is just, these usually line right up, but if you just lay a tidbit, like not even 1/8 of an inch, not even 2 millimeters, it seems like, just a tiny bit, exactly the same on both sides down, the white, you know, put it down, just barely, then they line up a lot better. But either way, they still line up and make a nice straight line. Just thought I'd share that as a little tip. But if you have a tumbler, a 5-inch tumbler, you can make your blocks using your tumbler template. Just so you know, in case of anything, right? So we're going to place those there. My rotary cutter is a Martelli ergonomic cutter. You can buy it at the link that Scott most likely put in, which we have to update soon because they're changing their things again. I forgot to tell you that the other day. I got an email. I'll know if it doesn't take you to it.
Yeah, but how do you know that it
Oh, they sent me an email. All right, so there's our petals.
It works.
Okay, good. All right, center of the flower. Oops. I almost folded a thing over. So these are going to go like this. Ooh, this one's going to be pretty because that red is very vibrant. Right, I'm going to go ahead and press my leaves.
Did you do this with ombre fabric?
You could do this with ombre fabric. I think that would look cute. All right, and then the leaves are going to go right here. And we're going to grab our center of the leaf. So there's the stem, and then we're going to grab our four outside of the petals. And now all we have to do is piece all the pieces together. So these are going to go on each side. I'm going to piece these on here. And then we'll press this towards the petal. And if you guys are curious, today I actually switched to using Aurifil thread, but a big giant spool yesterday, because I knew that I was going to be needing to continuous, and so I rolled a bunch of bobbins of it, you know, and that's what I'm working on, is a giant spool of Aurifil thread, just to use it up. I don't want my thread to sit forever and get all funky, so this was sitting in a drawer, and I figured, you know what, I need to use these. So now I'm going to put my petals on each side of the center of the flower. And I'm going to press towards the petals. Okay, that's going to go there. We're going to place these on each side. Again, on this one, I'm going to press towards the petal.
You know, I could be doing that.
Oh, I know.
Well,
But I'm kind of doing like a back and forth thing, so that way I'm not standing still on this because it's killing me. All right, now we're going to put our stem on both sides of the leaf. Leaves, plural, because there's two leaves. For now, I'm just going to finger press it towards the stem, put the other side on, and then finger press that towards the stem. And then I'll press that at the iron. And then all we have to do is put the whole block together. It doesn't really matter which order you put it together. So you can put this on here first and then go up to the flowers, or you could do the flower 9-patch part first, or however you want to do it, whatever works for your brain. I'm just giving you the general direction. Because obviously we're making 12 of these, so we want it to the other ones I'm going to make after this block, I'm just going to do all the flower petals, get them done, all of the everything, and get them done. You know what I mean? So I'm going to press this towards the top of the pot. And then we're going to put the petals on, or the leaves on there, and press that towards the top of the pot. You know, this is the first time I've done one of these cutesy, garden-y type quilts. I quilt them for people all the time. But I don't think I've ever done a video of a garden pot, you know?
Yeah.
Like this. So I've never done one with the, I mean, I've done flowers like this, but I've never, yeah. Yeah, this is, I'm taking my channel to a whole new level doing all this cutesy stuff that everybody loves. All right, so I'm going to put these together. Again, they're pressed in opposite directions, so they should lay and nest nicely, giving you a beautiful flower. This whole trying to keep a 1/4 inch seam thing, whew, I'm sort of feeling like I'm struggling, but I'm not. If it comes out 10 by 18, we'll know I'm doing good. I'm pressing this towards the petal, the outer petal, not towards the center of the flower. All right, so it's pressed towards that petal, and then this one will get pressed towards this petal. And the blocks are not going directly next to each other. They're going to be separated by sashing, and different size sashing pieces. But that's what I got as a goal for my layout, by the way, is that way. So this is going to press towards the petal. Okay, and then we just hook the bottom to the top. And then I'm going to press that towards the petal, or towards the leaf, sorry. I'm pretty sure I did that towards the leaf. Yeah, it was towards the leaf. I've been doing it the other one too. Just gotta think. Making sure that everything presses to a direction that lays flat. That was the goal with this block. So now I'm just gonna press it towards the leaves because it lays flatter that way. I'm gonna give the whole block, huh? Oh yeah, it's a storm over us right now. Just wind. Well, there's clouds too, but it's not gonna rain probably. All right, and block numero dos, done. So look at that, 2 pretty blocks so far. Can you put the camera back where it goes now? I need to get off my feet. Oh. I don't want to sit on my butt, but you know, So here, let me put these. You lose the rest of it, but you generally know it's got white around it now. So this is what they're going to look like. Let me scoot this one over because this one is not going in the quilt, but these are going to be, when the quilt gets put together, we're making 4 across by 3 down because they're 18 inches long. They are going to be staggered like this. See? So my goal is to have the 4 across by 3 down, but they're going to sit staggered next to each other, and they're going to get sashing, and then in between they're going to get a bigger piece, but I'm going to put the leftover petal pieces in between to create the design. So, and we'll do that next week because we'll get to that part next week. But between now and not next week, but the week after. So next breakfast at Tiffany's. So by then I should have all of my blocks made because I'm going to do this. I showed you guys how to make the 2. I'm going to do the rest of them except for, sewing right now for a little bit off camera. That way we can get the layout done on the next video because it'll take a minute because we're going to be kind of like making it up as we go, but I generally had the idea in my head and I just didn't write nothing down. But right now you guys know how to put the blocks together. So I'm going to go ahead now and I am just going to grab all of these little squares here and I'm going to just sit here and get this part done so that all the centers are attached, and then I'll put all the leaf pieces. I'm going to do it in a chain piecing style.
Next breakfast at Tiffany's is the 20th.
Yeah, next breakfast at Tiffany's will be the 20th. Is that it? That. Okay, I got them all.
After St. Patty's Day.
After St. Patty's Day, yep. All right, so I'm going to just take right now while we're still here for a little bit. If you guys have any questions, ask them while I'm chain piecing. How about that? So I'm just going to attach my pieces here. So I'm literally going to grab one from each pile and just keep doing that till I go all the way around, because I'm trying to, you know, make this a little bit more efficient by chain piecing. That's what I say about chain piecing. It's more efficient done a certain way. We're going to be on this color now. So I'm going to try to do these in order of which they are sitting here next to me. That way I put the correct piece on the correct one. Although the colors are very different, so it's okay if, you know, I grab the wrong one, I'll know, because, again, the colors are very different. I want those to fall, though, because my machine shakes. If you hadn't watched yesterday's video, you'll know that it makes everything shake. I have a feeling I just cannot put the camera on the desk anymore, and you guys are just going to have to be angled down, which is kind of hard because I like the above view. But unfortunately,
Yeah, we don't have a ceiling mount.
I don't have a ceiling mount, so I can't.
You're hanging a ceiling fan.
When we do finally have enough money to invest in a camera system, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have some, because this is the permanent sewing room, on each side of the fan, I'm going to mount a bar that comes down. That way the fan doesn't affect the bar, and that way I can put the camera anywhere on the bar with an adjustable thing, you know?
How are you going to do that if you have to be so far away?
No, it wouldn't. It just needs to be on each side of the fan.
Yeah, but this side of the fan's way over here, and that side of the fan's way over there. You have to figure you have the fan running in the direction.
Either way, I'm going to run some kind of awesomeness
You can't do it in between.
that is above and away from the desk, because I can't hook anything to the desk. It shakes the camera. So that's my thing, because I use a Juki and it's a very powerful machine. That one is the one I just did. Let's do this one. And then that one. Any questions or anything while I'm here? Still? While I'm... No? Oh, that color. Yeah. It's a lot easier probably to chain piece. All right, so I got each color on here. I'm just going to keep them in the order of which I've sewn them. And then I'll cut everything and press everything at the end. No need to do it at this very second, you know. All right, so let's start over from the top back to this purple. Yeah, I think this is probably going to be a better way of sewing all these. The white fabric for the background. So, again, you can't see the white. I'm going to go through this whole thing real quick. You need per block and a total of, so if you're making 12 blocks along with me, but I'm going to do a per block one. So you need 4 3-inch by 3-inch squares per block. I'm doing 12 blocks, so obviously that is 48 3-inch squares. Then for the background or white of your, what is this called? The leaves, you need 4 per block, 2 by 2-inch squares, and for a total for 12 blocks, you need 48. For the whites that are in the corners to create the petals of the flower, you need 8 1.5-inch squares per block for a total of 96 1.5-inch squares. For the side pieces of your, what is this called again? The top of the pot, you need 2 1.5 by 2.5-inch pieces, and that will be 24 of them if you're making 12 blocks. And then again, per each block, you need 2 4-ish, like a little bit over 4-ish inches. If you want to be accurate though, it's 4-inch by 5-inch pieces. And if you're making all the blocks, then you're going to need 24 of them. Then for your petals, we're going to do this one more time. So your petals and the outsides right here, you need 4 5-inch squares, or you can use, what is the word for it? Fat quarters, and then you can just cut the 5-inch by 3-inch pieces. But 4 5-inch squares, they're going to be cut to 3-inch by 5-inch. And then these outer pieces are 4 1.5-inch pieces. And this is going to be per petal, not every block is the same. So however many you need for all the blocks. The center of your flower is a 5 by 5-inch square. And then you're going to need, 12 of them if you're doing 12 blocks like me. These parts for your flowers or for your leaves are a 5-inch by 3-inch piece. So you need 24 of them if you're doing 12 blocks. You need 12 tops of your pot that are 1.5 by 6-inch pieces. And then for your pot, you need 12, the base of the pot, yeah. You need 12 5-inch by 5-inch squares. So hopefully that covered every single piece that is on here. I, again, will put all the numbers of how many pieces into the description.
How much white did you use total?
In total, I had 1.25 yards, and I still have about 8 inches left. So, yeah. Which I'm going to have to add more to do my sashing and stuff. But,
When you draw your pattern out on your paper, how do you figure out the sizes?
When I draw it on the paper, how do I figure out the sizes? That's the question. Well, I drew the flower, and I said I want this to be 10 inches wide. So a 5-inch plus 2 2.5-inch pieces, or 2 3-inch pieces, 2 3-inch pieces equals 6 minus half. That is 5.5. Plus a 5-inch piece, and take that half and give it to those 2 seam allowances, and you get 10 inches. So I just think, the finished size, this is 4.5 plus 2 2.5 is 4.5, so that gives you a 10. Anyway, so that's how I figured that out. So I got my flower part. The sides, I knew I needed 1 inch for the center, for this part right here. It's about 1 inch for every single one of those. So to equal that, I needed 2 5-inch squares, and to keep 5 and 5 being 10, you add that 1 inch in the middle, and your 1/4-inch seam allowances are on the inside. So you take away 1 inch, but you added 1 inch. Then for this, I wanted the top of the pot to be bigger. That is why it's cut from separate fabric and not from the 5-inch square, because I wanted it to stick out to be more of a pot, or else if it was 5 inches, it would just be one straight thing. So when I drew that, I made sure that it stuck out further than, so that's why we cut from different fabric. And you know what? I like it with all the pots being a different, or the same color instead of a different color. I think it's going to look more uniform for me, like a flower garden would be, because you bought all gray or brown or blue pots, for your garden. And then this, obviously, I wanted, again, to be able to use a charm pack, 5-inch square. So I knew that needed to be 5 inches, and if I cut the inch off of both sides, I knew these needed to be 4 inches, because you're cutting it on the diagonal, but you still have 5 inches on the top, and 3 on the top of each side, and 3 on the bottom part right here, and 5 on the bottom of those, or 4 on the bottom of those sides, which equal 10. That's how I did my math, and then I just put arrows out to what gets what size. That's how I did that. And then these, I just guesstimated that these needed to be 1.5 and that these needed to be 1.5 to make it look good. That was just a guess. I could have done 2 inches, and it probably would have been a lot, I don't know, it would have took away from the center. I like it at 1.5. So there's that.
You're very smart and talented.
I'm
writing all that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to get it all figured out for you guys. I'm not like a professional at it, though. I suck at math, and that's why I didn't get as far. I knew how many pieces you needed for all that other stuff, but I didn't get as far as the white and how many strips need to be cut, because you can get so many 1.5-inch squares from a 5-inch strip or from a 1-inch strip, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't go that far, which is what a pattern would say, cut blah, blah, blah. Well, I said it in the beginning, so if you rewind to the beginning, I said how many strips. I cut 5, and then I used the couple little pieces I needed from the excess cutoff so that there's less waste. And I probably could have, you know, even used more of those and used less strips. But, you know, I was just making things up as I go with that part. Well, not really, because I knew how much I needed per block. So I guess I wasn't really making it up. I'm all over the place, but again, Karen writes out everything I've said in the video, and then I will add what I can to the description after the video. I won't get it done till after I eat breakfast and nap today, but it'll eventually be down there today sometime with how many pieces, because I wrote it down. I just don't remember how many strips I cut to get that many pieces. So I may have to watch my own video. Honestly, I cut 5 strips. Here, I'm going to write this down while I'm right here thinking about it. I cut 5 strips for that. For the 24 1.5 by 2.5, I cut 2 strips. For the 48 2-inch squares, I cut 3 strips, didn't I? For 48 2-inch squares, I think I cut 3. 48 3-inch squares, I cut 4 strips. And then for the 4x5s 24, I cut 3 strips. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's right. I'll go back in the video and make sure. But again, I'll get that added to the description when I get a chance today, sometime. And if you don't know where the description is, I'm going to tell you real quick. You exit out the chat. It's literally right under the name of the video. It says more, and you would click on that, and it gives you the description. You can press more to open the whole thing up. So if you didn't know, that's where it's at. Because I know a lot of people struggle finding that. Let me come close so that you can see. I did that all totally far away from the screen. So here is, if the chat was open, to find the description, you would close the chat. You would click on this more button under my name, under the name of the video, and then right here is another more button. And you just open that, and you would get every amount of information that I always put in my videos. And then obviously the today's stuff will go under there later. But yeah, that's how you do that. And then you can just open chat back up. Really easy. And then on a computer, it's next. On the computer, your chat is on the, you know, the video is playing on one side and the chat's on the other. Literally underneath the video, there's a more button. And sometimes, like, one computer is different than the other. One, all I have to do is scroll, and the description's there. But on a different computer, because we have 2 different computers, you press the more button. So, I mean, not all computers are exactly the same, but YouTube is almost exactly the same on every device. All right, I'm on this color. Get these petals done, and then I'll get off of here. I mean, not petals, the center parts, before I confuse myself. Let me just sew these up real quick. I gotta go a little bit faster, Tiffany. Go faster. And one more. Okay. Ah, no, don't knock all that down. Oh, Joyce, thank you. That's so nice of you. All right. I'm just going to like do both of these. That way my brain doesn't lose all these pieces. Either way, I'm going to chain piece most of this. How about that? And again, I'll do it all off camera so that we'll just do the layout next time, and I'll be able to have a general idea of how much yardage will be needed in full for that to add, you know, more white. But you don't have to use white. You can use a whole different color for the part of putting your blocks together. And I might do that. You never know. It'll probably be somewhere around 3/4 of a yard, though. That's just my guess. You know, because sometimes I guess. Any more questions before I get ready to get off of here? Because I'm going to sew all this, and I'm going to probably walk away and go eat because I'm getting hungry. Anything? No, nothing coming through. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get going. Again, if you're watching this now and you're going to work on this through the week, get these blocks done, and we'll work on the layout by the 20th, which will be the next breakfast at Tiffany's. And if you haven't checked out yesterday's video upload, check it out because it's an amazing quilt. I love it. It's definitely exploded. And I will see you guys on Sunday with, I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh my goodness, I gotta find something for that too. Bye, everybody. See ya. Bye. Peace out.